Our top focus, Atishi is in, Arvind Kejriwal is out. Arvind Kejriwal tendered his resignation to the Delhi Lieutenant Governor today, flanked by the new Chief Minister and Delhi Mantris. The Chief Minister designate, Atishi, staked claim to form the new government and now will take oath possibly within a week's time at the start of the assembly session next week. Atishi was picked as Arvind Kejriwal's successor at the party legislative meeting held earlier today. An emotional Atishi took over the reins from Kejriwal, but the Aam Aadmi Party reiterated that Kejriwal will resume his role as the Chief Minister after the elections are held.
पूरी दिल्ली में लोग अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के इस्तीफे से दुखी हैं, लेकिन साथ ही दिल्ली के लोग इस बात का प्रण ले रहे हैं कि आने वाले चुनाव में वो अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को फिर से मुख्यमंत्री बनाना चाहते हैं। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने भरोसा कर मुझ पे ये जिम्मेदारी दी है, दिल्ली के लोगों के साथ अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को फिर से दिल्ली का मुख्यमंत्री बनाए। और जब तक चुनाव नहीं होते तब तक दिल्ली के लोगों की रक्षा करना कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी षड्यंत्र रचकर दिल्ली के लोगों की बिजली, फ्री बिजली, अच्छे स्कूल, मोहल्ला क्लिनिक में इलाज बंद ना कर दे, ये मेरी जिम्मेदारी नहीं। और उसी के लिए आज हमने एलजी साहब को पत्र दिया है, सरकार बनाने की दावेदारी का पत्र दिया है।
जेल से आने के बाद दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने यह ऐलान किया था कि जब तक दिल्ली की जनता दोबारा अपना समर्थन दे करके हमें नहीं जिताती है, तब तक हम दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री के कुर्सी पर नहीं बैठेंगे। उसी ऐलान के तहत आज मुख्यमंत्री जी ने उपराज्यपाल महोदय को अपना इस्तीफा सौंपा है। साथ ही साथ दिल्ली के अंदर आगे सरकार को संचालित करने के लिए सुबह आम आदमी पार्टी के विधायक मंडल दल की बैठक हुई थी। बैठक में सर्वसम्मति से आतिशी जी को अपना विधानमंडल दल का नेता चुना गया था। हमने आम आदमी पार्टी के विधानमंडल दल का जो फैसला है पार्टी की तरफ से उपराज्यपाल जी को सूचित किया है और साथ ही साथ हमारे विधायक दल की नेता आतिशी जी की तरफ से जल्द सरकार बनाने के लिए दावेदारी प्रस्तुत की गई है। हमने उपराज्यपाल महोदय से निवेदन किया है कि जल्द से जल्द शपथ की तारीख सुनिश्चित की जाए, जिससे कि दिल्ली के अंदर दिल्ली के 2 करोड़ लोगों के लिए जो काम है उस काम को आगे बढ़ाया जा सके।
All right, so that is done. The Chief Minister has quit. Arvind Kejriwal left the LG's residence in just one car with his driver. There was no convoy, back to being at least the Aam Aadmi. Now, Atishi has staked claim with her ministers. When will she take oath? It depends when the LG gets back, because it's complicated. The resignation of the Delhi Chief Minister by the LG will be forwarded all the way to the President via the Home Ministry, and it takes time. But what next for the Aam Aadmi Party? Colleague Ashutosh Mishra joining us for more on that. Ashutosh, the next phase of making this election completely about Arvind Kejriwal, personalizing it, now rolls in. In all probability, Ashutosh, coming from tomorrow, we are going to start seeing, optics, visuals of Arvind Kejriwal moving out of his residence in the next couple of days, and then maybe try and get back into the Aam Aadmi mold.
And looks like he'll be shifting somewhere in the New Delhi in his own assembly pocket to his own people, and very much leave that house for the next Chief Minister, who is Atishi. In fact, where I am right outside here, this is the residence of the new Chief Minister of Delhi, Atishi. It's raining heavily. I've tried to reach out to the family members who are not ready to speak at the moment, as Atishi has also asked the supporters, do not celebrate, do not offer garlands, do not distribute seats. This is not a moment of celebrate, but it's just an opportunity that Arvind Kejriwal and the party has given to her. So yes, tomorrow onwards, you probably see Arvind Kejriwal. Remember, one startup that Arvind Kejriwal started, a lot of experiments he has done. And even at this phase, Preeti, this is all the experiment that he has been doing in this political startup. Often that's achieved success, sometimes it's even failed. But this time what you see after going to the public's court without waiting for the court, the final verdict, because that may take even more than a decade as far as the legal proceedings and excise case is concerned. But deciding to go to the people's court, offering a resignation, giving the responsibility to one of the most loyal and trusted and perhaps more reliable face and a woman chief minister. So a lot of MasterCard he has played simultaneously. But when he goes for the campaigning, for the first week of October till he will be focusing on Haryana, either till the voting is over. And then what I'm hearing that from second week of the October, the strategy which is being planned to hit the street in a phase-wise. First phase, second phase, third phase, and gradually with the aggression as the Aam Aadmi Party style has been for the campaigning. And remember, this time, Arvind Kejriwal is not all alone. He has his second in command, Manish Sisodia, a trusted chief minister, reliable face in the government, and Vijay Nair, one of the key players in the communication in charge. And all of his team members are now free. They are out here to design strategy and they hit the street. So that looks like we are going to see a new Arvind Kejriwal, ex-chief minister of Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party's national convener and a full-time politician.
Well, you're right there, and there is now going to be a clear attempt to reinvent Arvind Kejriwal. That mold that was built around on, where he was cast in terms of the Aam Aadmi Party. Now an attempt to re-establish that. But Ashutosh, to bring you in, there is also seemingly, Ashutosh, a clear understanding where the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned to not make Arvind Kejriwal the face of Haryana elections. It's got more to do with Delhi. They're going to try and keep him away because at least for now, the Aam Aadmi Party seemingly a fringe player in Haryana. All in for Delhi, try and keep Arvind Kejriwal out in terms of being the face of Haryana. The posters of Haryana Ka Lal Kejriwal now also being called back.
Well, Arvind Kejriwal has been a face of the Aam Aadmi Party in terms of his governance model in Delhi. Arvind Kejriwal was a face in Gujarat with his model of governance in Delhi, and that was the similar case even in Punjab. But with this strategy, when they phased out all these posters, remember the moment when they decided a face of a chief minister, be it Ishudan Gadhvi in Gujarat or Bhagwant Mann in Punjab, the moment they decided there will be a face, then Arvind Kejriwal was phased out from the posters and they gave out the faces from the respective states. So here in Haryana, since they are going to contest the election now, taking seriously at least on certain seats, Haryana Galal Arvind Kejriwal will be in the poster, but not exactly the way they have been campaigning Delhi. And remember, Arvind Kejriwal has made one promise in the past: whatever it takes, he will be always loyal to Delhi, he will always govern Delhi, he will always focus Delhi. So despite being chief minister of state, he has been campaigning all over, but his primarily focus has always been here in the national capital. Well, and that message right on the edge when we are barely 4 to 5 months away from the Delhi election, Arvind Kejriwal would not give any message out that he's going to focus somewhere else, Preeti.
True, you're right there, and that's what's going to happen right now, because earlier on there was indication that possibly Arvind Kejriwal is going to be used in Haryana. That's not going to happen, viewers. He will go because he has to campaign. He is the leader of the party, and however, it's not going to be Arvind Kejriwal who's going to be the poster child where Haryana's Aam Aadmi Party campaign is concerned. It's all in for Delhi, and Arvind Kejriwal knows he needs to protect that turf. And he's got his team intact now. Everyone's out re-strategizing, reworking, trying to reinvent. Let's cut across to Ashutosh, author and political analyst. We're also going to cut across in the studio with me, Rajdeep Sardesai. But Ashutosh, coming to you first. It's risky to personalize an election, but Arvind Kejriwal has done it every time. But this time, the stakes are very, very different, Ashutosh. Do you think it's going to work? And Atishi now in, Arvind Kejriwal out. Ashutosh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Stakes are high, Ashutosh. That's the question. Once again, an attempt to personalize an election, reinvent, re-strategize, recreate the magic. Will it be possible?
See, nothing is impossible in politics and in life and in future. That what is going to happen in another 4 months' time, only the result will tell whether he has tried to reinvent himself, whether he successfully did it. But certainly, yes, Arvind Kejriwal must have realized in his heart that his decision not to resign when he was sent to jail was a historic blunder, and he might have to pay the price for that. So he is trying to undo what he has done earlier, and I think it's a right decision. But in my opinion, it's a desperate call, and it's too little and too late. For the simple reason, because when everybody was saying that he has violated the constitution, when he was shouting from the rooftop that he will run the government from the jail, and he did it. He did it, which is frankly is impossible task, and nobody can do it. When Supreme Court has given him bail in the CBI case and earlier in the ED case, and now after coming out, he must have realized, he must have done some survey, he must have got some feedback that this has really boomerang, then probably he has tried to correct himself. So I see it from that perspective, but will it really help Kejriwal in assembly election? That is something which has to be seen. It all depends on that how the BJP plays its card and what kind of a strategy they are going to run. If they continue with the Satish Upadhyay in 2015, if they continue with the Manoj Tiwari in 2020, and if they continue with Mr. Sachdeva in 2025, then frankly speaking, I don't see much hope for the BJP. And BJP is again committing the same mistake. They are trying to target Atishi's the parents, which is in a very, very bad taste. It is not in our culture, in our political culture, that you target somebody's parents because of certain ideology. But it is being done. But that's what the BJP is all about.
You know, I want to bring in Rajdeep Sardesai into this conversation. Rajdeep, Ashutosh seems to think it's too little, too late. Desperate times, desperate measures won't work this time. But if you even hark back in history, Arvind Kejriwal is practically the king of reinvention. He's done it ever since from 2013, made a seamless transition from being a crusader, then to being this person who's taken to the streets to fight for Delhi, then to the chief minister. At one point of time, he was an atheist. Now he's a Hanuman Bhakt. You know, he's got that thing in. He reinvents. Do you think it's possible to do it this time?
2 points, Preeti. One, I agree with Ashutosh that in my view, Arvind Kejriwal should have probably resigned the moment he was arrested. I think once you're arrested and in jail, then to continue to function as chief minister, even before you're convicted, is I think inappropriate. It sends out the wrong signal. It sent out the signal that you were sticking to your chair, even though you had been put in jail, had been arrested in the Delhi liquor alleged Delhi liquor policy scam. But I think once he's been out, what he's done in the last 48 hours, I think is the right move. You could call it that it is making a virtue out of a necessity, but it gives Arvind Kejriwal the opportunity now to reposition himself, as you put it, as some kind of back to the basics Aam Aadmi politician. He'll have to leave the chief minister's bungalow. He goes back possibly to a much smaller house, drives the small Maruti. The optics do matter. Arvind Kejriwal will have to reinvent himself once again as an Aam Aadmi. The only way he could have done that, Preeti, was by resigning as chief minister, because now at least he can, at least that charge which the BJP kept making against him, that you're sticking to your chair, you're unwilling to leave your chair, that has gone. Now he will have to fight on his track record, on what his promises are. It won't be easy. Certainly not as easy as it was a decade ago when, Preeti, he was fresh-faced, idealistic, seen as a politician with a different...
A lot of water has flown down the Yamuna.
A lot of water has flown down under the Yamuna, but the fact is, by doing what he has, he gives himself half a chance. And remember, the one thing that is going for him is the fact that the BJP and the Congress in Delhi are not exactly the most robust organizations with a strong leadership. What doesn't go for him is the fact that there will be people who will say, look, we've seen this before, we've heard this before, we think it is a theatrics. There will be a greater element of cynicism as well. So I think Arvind Kejriwal, in the circumstances, has done what any intelligent politician would do, take a gamble. And with Atishi being made the chief minister,
put his neck on the line, the biggest gamble right now.
Yes,
where Arvind Kejriwal
and there are
is
two
concerned.
constituencies, Preeti, where I think the Aam Aadmi Party has taken a bit of a hit. One is the middle class, which drove this agitation of India against corruption. And you could argue there is a potential woman voter out there. Now, will Atishi be able to be seen in just 4 or 5 months as creeping out of Mr. Kejriwal's shadow and attracting these constituencies? Huge question mark. But end of the day, a politician has to work with the weapons he has with him. And at least, whether it's too little, too late, you know, Ashutosh may be proven right in a few months from now. My own sense is Arvind Kejriwal has given himself half a chance to survive.
You know, I know you need to leave, Rajiv, so I'm going to ask you a very quick question. Atishi to pick as his successor, best bet, safe bet? How do you look at it?
Look, you know, I, as always, seem to get things wrong. I thought that Arvind Kejriwal would pull a rabbit out of the hat. I thought he might go in for a Dalit face. He hasn't. By choosing Atishi, he's chosen a loyalist. He's chosen someone who at least appears credible to the middle class. The affluent, intelligent middle class is looking for possibly an Atishi-like figure, well-spoken, well-educated, Rhodes Scholar, someone who, claims that she is working on issues of governance. So I think in the circumstances, he's again taken a bit of a gamble. By putting Atishi there. I think Atishi knows she can't create, she's not going to be a Champai Soren. Let's get that very clear. She's not going to try and want to move out of Mr. Kejriwal's shadows. She's very happy being in his shadows. To that extent, Mr. Kejriwal has done what many politicians do in such circumstances. I remember Jayalalitha would have an O Paneer Selvam because she knew Paneer Selvam, whatever else, was a loyalist. He's chosen a loyalist. It may anger and antagonize some possible contemporaries and peers, but he didn't have too many choices, and I think again, he's possibly made a relatively safe choice.
Or the best choice that he had in his arsenal. And Ashutosh, I want to bring you in because other than the fact that, administrative-wise, she knows the going-ons, especially in a bureaucracy that is so well entrenched where the LG is concerned. But let me ask you a question. Above all, Ashutosh, this is about loyalty as well. Someone he can blindly trust. You were a part of the Aam Aadmi Party in 2015, Ashutosh, when, the likes of Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan were expelled. At that point of time, there was a huge cloud over Atishi. She was removed as spokesperson. Then she wrote that letter which castigated both Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan, clearly picking a side where it was Arvind Kejriwal. That was the first loyalty test for Arvind Kejriwal. Do you think that's been the main issue? Loyalty?
Preeti, I will not quarrel on that issue about writing a letter and changing side. That's in the past. I think what the politicians normally commit mistakes when they are at the top is that they choose among their loyalists the most incompetent person. Arvind Kejriwal has done a right thing. Among his loyalists, he has chosen a competent person. And nobody can quarrel on that. That today, Atishi Marlena is one of the competent minister. He knows how to handle ministry. He knows his subject. He's good at administration. And is quite firm what she's doing. So I will not say that, what wrong has been done is basically the own Aam Aadmi Party leaders have damaged Atishi and the party also. When they started calling him and giving a hint that she's a dummy candidate. The minute you do that, you are basically trying to tell to the whole world that Atishi is good for nothing. I think that they should have added, that they should have avoided. Otherwise, the kind of academic qualification she has, the kind of mettle she has shown as a minister, it could have added extra brand value to the Aam Aadmi Party. If she was given a little bit more autonomy to run administration,
right? Who
knows? She would have been a turning point, not a turning point, but he could have been a critical asset for the Aam Aadmi Party, adding more votes to the Aam Aadmi Party. But the minute you project Atishi as a dummy candidate, as a puppet, as a late-dumb chief minister, then basically you are not only insulting her, but also insulting the constitutional position and damaging Aam Aadmi Party's brand value too.
Right. Ashutosh, before I let you go, just one quick question. For the senior leadership, which is other than the likes of Arvind Kejriwal, because we do know Manish Sisodia did bat for Atishi, there are quite a few leaders within the Aam Aadmi Party today not very happy at the elevation of Atishi. And that practically showed when the MLA started filing out of Arvind Kejriwal's house after the legislative party meeting. Because they all looked slightly resentful and said, "Ab decision ho gaya hai, we have accepted."
That always happens. It's not that if even in a news organization, in any corporate organization, if somebody who has been quite junior, if she's promoted at the top post, then a lot of heartburns do happen, and especially in politics where the chances are very, very few, because for an MLA or MP, he can be once in a 5 years. and there's a very little space in the cabinet also. And here somebody who a few years back was just not in the good book of Arvind Kejriwal, suddenly she become an MLA and she became a minister. She was holding many portfolios, and then she's elevated as a chief minister. So obviously there will be jealousies, there will be heartburns, there will be resentments. I'm not discounting that, but the fact of the matter is, within few days' time, everybody will reconcile with the fact, because everybody has to contest elections and everybody has to come back as an MLA also, and they know that Aam Aadmi Party still has a better chance of coming back to power. I'm not pronouncing any judgment about the future, about the results of the election, but as of now, when you look back, because there's nobody who can beat Arvind Kejriwal in terms of popularity. He's still the most popular leader in Delhi. And if you look at in the Congress or look at in the BJP, there's hardly anybody who can claim to be giving some kind of competition to Arvind Kejriwal. So unless BJP comes out with some very strong face in another few weeks or another few months, and that can give a challenge, that can be a challenge to the Arvind Kejriwal's stature, only then you can see. Otherwise, this happens everywhere. Everybody will fall in line and everybody will concentrate in its constituencies, and many of them are going to lose their candidature also, because they will not be getting seats. So those kind of people are having resentment, are disappointed. Doesn't work most of the time.
All right, so everybody will fall in line, and we did see that. Everybody did fall in line eventually. Appreciate you joining us, Ashutosh. We're going to keep a keen eye on all developments. What happens from tomorrow? Possibly it's the next phase of the rollout plan of the Aam Aadmi Party. Mind you, this is a time when, after many, many years, Arvind Kejriwal has his arsenal full. He has his key team back in base. He's got Manish Sisodia, he's got Vijay Nair. They're all back. Vijay Nair now looking at all kinds of communication, making sure that the image of Arvind Kejriwal doesn't suffer. You have Manish Sisodia, who's already on a Padyatra, and all of them looking once again to reinvent. Will they be able to recreate the Aam Aadmi Party magic that we saw over the last 2 times when Arvind Kejriwal was elected? Many say right now the political landscape is a tad bit different. We'll keep a keen eye